Romance of the Three Kingdoms, Chapter 83.
Our first major moment here, it's just brimming with defiance and tragedy. It revolves around one of the legends, one of the 5 tiger generals, Huangzong. The catalyst for his final battle is quite telling, isn't it? About leadership, pride, the dynamics within an army. Liu Bei, maybe without thinking, just casually remarks that old generals are useless.
Oof, yeah.
Now imagine hearing that if you're a 77-year-old veteran like Huangzong, still sharp, still full of fight.
Right. It must have just stung.
It absolutely ignited his immense pride. He immediately fires back, claiming he still eats 10 caddies of meat, can draw a 2-stone bow, and rides a 1,000 light horse.
Yeah.
Basically saying, I'm not old yet.
Mm-hmm.
And then he charges into battle, not just for victory, but you feel like he's really out there to prove his worth.
And he does initially.
Oh, absolutely. Initially, he's unstoppable. He single-handedly challenges the Wu general Pan Zhang and then swiftly dispatches Pan Zhang's subordinate Shi Ji in less than 3 bouts. 1 saber stroke.
Incredible skill, especially for his age.
It really is.
His actions were certainly magnificent, yeah. But what's revealed here, I think, is a profound insight into leadership's unintended consequences. Huangzong's tragic end. It isn't just about an aging warrior meeting his match. It's a stark reminder, isn't it? How a leader's careless words, even a seemingly minor slight like Liu Bei's, can inadvertently weaponize a warrior's pride.
That's a great way to put it.
And this turns individual glory into, well, strategic vulnerability. Even the greatest martial skill, which Huangzong clearly had, can't overcome that ultimately. Despite those initial wins, he gets ambushed. It's a coordinated trap. Pan Zhang, Zhu Tai, Han Dang, Ling Tong.
The whole gang.
Pretty much. And it's Ma Zong's arrow hitting his shoulder that proves fatal. It just underscores that even legendary heroism can be undone by maybe a psychological wound combined with strategic cunning.
It's really heartbreaking when you think about it. He's brought back to Liu Bei's camp. And in his final moments, his words just speak volumes about his loyalty, his perspective. He tells Liu Bei, I am but a warrior, fortunate to meet your majesty. I am 75 years old. My life is full enough. I hope your majesty will protect your body to achieve the central plains.
Wow.
And then he dies.
Liu Bei's grief was immediate and profound. He blamed himself, didn't he?
Completely. Lamenting 5 tiger generals, 3 are now gone. I still cannot avenge them. How painful.
This moment really makes us ask, what's the true personal cost of war? Even for an emperor calling the shots. I mean, Liu Bei commands vast forces, but his personal attachments, his sense of responsibility for his comrades' deaths, it creates this heavy emotional burden.
Yeah.
It highlights how even a ruler at the absolute pinnacle of power can feel immense personal failure and pain. And that shapes his future actions, in deeply personal ways.
And those personal losses only seem to stoke Liu Bei's fire, make him more unyielding. He takes direct command of the campaign, advancing with this overwhelming force 8 armies, water and land, right towards shouting.
This isn't just military calculation anymore.
No, it's explicitly a personal vendetta led by the emperor himself. His confrontation with the Wu generals Han Dang and Zhu Tai, you can feel the rage. He doesn't mince words. He's shouting at them, "You Wu dogs, you injured my brothers. I swear not to stand with you under the heavens."
Wow. That's raw.
That raw personal fury wasn't just his, it became the driving force, almost unstoppable for his whole army.
And what's really striking here is how this intensely personal quest for vengeance, this crucible of war, paradoxically becomes the proving ground for the next generation.
Ah, the tiger cubs.
Exactly. Guanxing, Guan Yu's son, and Zhang Bao, Zhang Fei's son, they step up. Zhang Bao, with his thunderous voice, apparently intimidates the Wu general Xie Shun before killing him with a single spear thrust.
Just like his father.
And Guanxing, swift and decisive, avenges his father by killing Zhou Ping. Their actions aren't just about skill. They underscore this powerful narrative of legacy, right? The continuation of an oath through generations.
Solidifying that idea that the spirit of their legendary fathers lives on.
Precisely.
And Liu Bei, seeing this, seeing his oath carried forward, proudly declares, Tiger father has no dog sons.
A powerful moment.
Yeah.
Fierce pride amidst all that carnage.
Yeah. Yet, as this relentless campaign pushes on, the fog of war, well, it can claim anyone on either side, suddenly, unexpectedly. And for Wu, this meant the abrupt end of a really celebrated general under pretty unceremonious circumstances.
You're talking about Gan Ning.
Gan Ning, yeah, a renowned Wu general, known for his ferocity, his charisma. But when the Shu forces arrived, he was actually sick. on his boat.
Not exactly ready for battle.
Not at all. He quickly mounts up, but basically runs straight into this formidable force of barbarian soldiers led by their king, Shamoke. And the description of Shamok is intense. Face like splattered blood, prominent green eyes, wielding an iron this fearsome spiked flail.
Sounds terrifying.
And carrying 2 bows at his waist. A truly fearsome, almost fantastical sight.
And that's exactly the point, isn't it?
Yeah.
Gan Ning, this general of immense renown who'd won critical victories for Wu, he meets this almost ignominious end. He wasn't beaten in some grand duel or a key battle.
Yeah.
He was sick, caught off guard, and shot in the head by an arrow from Shamoke while retreating.
It's like that.
This moment just slams home the brutal unpredictability of warfare back then. Even the most formidable, celebrated warriors could be swept away, not by a rival hero, but by illness and some unforeseen, almost peripheral enemy.
It's a stark narrative choice. Emphasizes the chaos, the indiscriminate nature of war's toll. And the imagery around his death is quite dramatic, too. Dying under a large tree at Fuchimouth, with hundreds of crows surrounding his corpse.
Wow. A stark, almost poetic end for such a storied warrior.
But the personal vengeance quests, especially Guanxing's, they were far from over. Still burning with this singular desire to avenge his father, Guan Yu, he's relentlessly pursuing Pan Zhang, the direct murderer.
Right. He chases him deep into the mountains.
Gets lost as night falls. And here's where the story takes this almost unbelievable turn. It sort of blurs the lines between the physical and the spiritual.
Yeah, this part is wild.
Guanxing, lost, finds shelter at some remote villager's house. And inside, to his total astonishment, he finds a shrine dedicated to his own father, Guan Yu.
Imagine that.
He naturally breaks down, weeps, worships there. Then, later that very night, by this incredible, almost divinely orchestrated coincidence, Pan Zhang himself, also lost, also seeking shelter, knocks on the door of the exact same house.
It's just masterful dramatic irony. And psychological insight, too. When Pan Zhang enters and sees this apparition of Guan Yu, described with that iconic face like a red date, phoenix eyes, silkworm eyebrows, all of it.
The full Guan Yu image.
He's not just terrified. The text says he's paralyzed, his divine soul dispersed.
So is it a real ghost or just his guilt?
That's the question, isn't it? Is it a true spirit or Pan Zhang's own tormented conscience manifesting Guan Yu's terrifying image? Either way, the psychological weight of his crime, combined with, the superstition of the era, it utterly seals his fate.
It shows how the narrative uses the supernatural to really heighten the emotional and moral stakes of vengeance.
Absolutely.
And Guanxing, seizing that chilling moment, moves in swiftly, beheads the terrified Pan Zhang, and offers his heart and blood as a sacrifice right there before Guan Yu's image.
Intense.
Then he reclaims his father's famous green dragon crescent blade and takes Pan Zhang's horse. A truly satisfying, almost sacred act of vengeance for him, fulfilling that filial duty.
Yeah, deeply resonant.
But, the path of vengeance wasn't simple or singular. Guanxing soon runs into Ma Zong.
The guy who shot Huangzong.
Exactly. A skirmish breaks out. Zhang Bao arrives to help his sworn brother Guanxing, and they also encounter Mi Fang and Fu Shiren.
Ah, the original betrayers of Guan Yu, now with Ma Zong. It's getting complicated.
Extremely. And the situation for Mi Fang and Fu Shiren was just utterly desperate. They actually overhear their own soldiers, former Jingzhou troops, planning to kill them for betraying Guan Yu and then surrender to Liu Bei.
Ouch. Trapped.
Totally trapped between their past disloyalty and this looming violent retribution from all sides.
It was particularly revealing here is how badly they misjudge Liu Bei. They decide, in this last-ditch effort, to kill Ma Zong themselves and present his head to Liu Bei, claiming they were forced to surrender to Wu, and now they want to atone.
They're trying to play on Liu Bei's reputation for benevolence, right?
Exactly. Completely misjudging the depth, the sheer all-consuming nature of his grief and anger right now. They thought a strategic re-betrayal could somehow save them.
Bad calculation. Liu Bei's response is just furious. Cuts right to the heart of his code of loyalty. He completely rejects their plea, basically roaring, "Why didn't you come ask for forgiveness earlier? Now when you're in danger, you use cunning words to save your lives. If I spare you, how can I face Guan Yu and the underworld?"
No escape there.
None.
And the execution that follows, it's not just brutal, it's ritualistic. It's an act of imperial terror designed to send an absolutely unequivocal political message.
Yep, describe that. It's horrific.
Liu Bei orders Guanxing to strip Mi Fang and Fu Shiren naked, make them kneel before Guan Yu's spirit tablet. And then Guanjing personally dismembers them with a knife as a sacrifice to his fallen father, Guan Yu. This isn't just personal satisfaction for Liu Bei or Guanxing. It demonstrates how a ruler's deepest emotional wounds can be leveraged, weaponized almost, to forge a political message so brutal it reshapes alliances and strikes fear into entire populations.
It's a terrifyingly clear warning about betrayal.
Absolutely. An unforgivable crime with an unforgettable punishment, establishing a terrifying precedent.
And it wasn't solely about Guan Yu either. Zhang Bao, just as emotional, just as driven by filial duty, then pleads for vengeance for his father, Zhang Fei.
Right, because Zhang Fei's killers were still out there.
Exactly. And Liu Bei, still consumed by his oath, by this escalating cycle of retribution, promises to conquer Jiangnan and capture Zhang Fei's killers, specifically for Zhang Bao to personally execute.
So the personal vengeance is now explicitly part of the imperial strategy.
Baked right in. This overwhelming campaign, fueled by imperial rage and personal loss, had this profound, unsettling impact across the region. Liu Bei's prestige shook the Southland, apparently filling the people of Jiangnan with palpable terror.
You can imagine, Sun Quan, the king of Wu, must have been terrified himself.
He was. He convenes his ministers for urgent advice. What do we do?
And this moment forces us to look at the strategic calculus needed to de-escalate a conflict fueled by such deep personal grievances. Buzi, one of Sun Quan's counselors, offers some remarkably pragmatic, really shrewd advice.
What was it?
He identifies Liu Bei's true targets, not just territory, but specific people. Lu Meng, Pan Zhang, Ma Zong, Mi Fang, Fu Shiren, the ones directly responsible for Guan Yu's death or betrayal.
And points out.
Most of them are now dead. The only remaining targets of Liu Bei's personal vendetta are Fan Jiang and Zhang Da, the assassins of Zhang Fei.
Ah, so isolate the remaining personal grievance.
Exactly. It demonstrates this sophisticated understanding that the war, at its core, was driven by specific emotional demands, and therefore maybe it could be appeased by addressing those specific demands.
So the proposed peace offering was huge, wasn't it? A real testament to Sun Quan's desperation.
Massive concession.
They offered to capture Fan Jiang and Zhang Da.
Send Zhang Fei's head back to Liu Bei in his sandalwood box.
Return the entirety of Jingzhou province.
Send Lady Sun Bei's wife and Sun Quan's sister back.
And propose a joint alliance against their common enemy, Wei.
Wow. That's basically giving Liu Bei almost everything you could possibly want, short of Wu's complete surrender.
Must have been incredibly difficult for Sun Quan to even consider.
Absolutely.
Liu Bei's relentless quest for vengeance.
It starts grimly. It's the arrival of his sworn brother Zhang Fei's severed head. It arrives along with the captured assassins, Fan Jiang and Zidak.
Oh, brutal. How did Liu Bei react when he saw that?
The text says he clutched his hands to his forehead, weeping loudly, just overcome with sorrow and, well, absolute rage.
And it didn't stop there, did it? There was immediate retribution.
No, it didn't. Liu Bei ordered Zhang Bao, that's Zhang Fei's son, to personally oversee a spiritual tablet for his father. But then came the really gruesome part.
Right, the execution.
Zhang Bao executed Fan Jiang and Zhang Da with 10,000 cuts. It's this horrific process, Ling Ji, a slow public execution meant to inflict maximum suffering.
A ritual act, then, to appease his father's spirit.
Exactly, a public display of vengeance. But even that didn't satisfy Liu Bei's fury.
So Wu tries to step in. They sense an opportunity or maybe danger.
Probably both. Wu sends an envoy, Cheng Bing, trying to broker peace. They offer quite a lot, actually returning Jingzhou, Lady Sun, proposing an alliance against Wei.
That sounds like a pretty good deal, strategically speaking.
It does, but Liu Bei, he's unwavering. He flatly refuses. He says, my bitter enemy is Sun Quan. If I ally with him now, I would betray the oath I made with my two sworn brothers.
So the oath trumped everything.
Completely. His resolve was absolute. He declared his intent, first destroy Wu, then destroy Wei. His rage was so consuming, he actually tried to execute the envoy, Cheng Bing, right there on the spot.
Execute the peace envoy.
Yeah, just to sever all ties with Wu. It was only the desperate pleas from his own officials that stopped him. Cheng Bing barely got out of there alive.
And he reported back to Wu, obviously.
He did. He reported Liu Bei's unyielding determination. And what's so striking here, is how Liu Bei's personal grief just completely bulldozes any strategic thinking.
It really makes you wonder, can a leader be effective when they're that consumed by personal emotion?
That's the core question, isn't it? It's a timeless warning. Unchecked emotion can be a leader's biggest blind spot, overriding even the soundest strategic advice.
Okay, so Liu Bei's war machine is rolling. How's Sun Quan reacting back in Wu? He must be worried.
Deeply alarmed. Hearing about Liu Bei's refusal, his absolute determination to destroy Wu, Sun Quan is, well, he's at a loss. He doesn't have a clear path forward.
And his usual top generals weren't available.
Right. His most renowned commanders were either gone or tied up elsewhere. He needed someone brilliant, but the obvious choices weren't there.
And that's when Kanzei steps up.
Precisely. Minister Kanzei comes forward with a really bold recommendation, Lu Xun. He calls him the pillar supporting the heavens.
I praise. What was the basis for that?
Kanzei emphasized Lu Xun's past genius, specifically pointing to his cunning role in defeating Guan Yu and taking Jingzhou back. He basically put his entire reputation on the line.
But not everyone agreed, right? This must have caused some friction.
Oh, definitely. This sparks a fascinating internal conflict. The veteran officials, powerful figures like Zhang Zhao, Gu Yong, Lai Zi, they immediately objected.
What were their objections?
They dismissed Lu Xun, called him a mere scholar, too young, low in prestige. They just couldn't believe he'd be any match for a seasoned campaigner like Liu Bei.
It's that classic resistance, isn't it? The old guard pushing back against new blood.
Exactly.
Yeah.
But Kanzei was absolutely resolute. He defended Lu Xun vehemently. He even went so far as to offer his entire family as collateral for Lu Xun's success.
His whole family. That's an incredible pledge. That shows some serious conviction.
It really does. And despite all these strong objections, Sun Quan makes his decision. The text says he already knew Lu Xun was an extraordinary talent.
So Sun Quan saw something the others didn't, or maybe was willing to take a risk they weren't.
Probably a bit of both. He summoned Lu Xun. Now, Lu Xun, Saddle Boyan, was younger, yes, but he came from a respected family and already held the rank of Zhengxi general. He wasn't a complete unknown.
Just not tested at this level.
Right. Untested in supreme command. So, when Lu Xun humbly accepts the appointment, he immediately voices a very practical concern. How is he going to control these older, established generals?
A legitimate worry. How did Sun Quan handle that?
Very decisively. Sun Quan understood the potential for sabotage, or at least non-cooperation. He handed Lu Xun his personal sword.
Symbolism, but more than that.
Much more. He gave him supreme authority with a chilling mandate. If anyone disobeys your orders, execute them first and report later.
Wow, no ambiguity there. Execute first, ask questions later.
Exactly. It was a crystal clear signal to everyone, from the lowest soldier to the highest general. Disobey Lu Xun and you answer to Sun Quan directly, potentially with your life.
And they formalized this.
They did. Kam Zun suggested an elaborate ceremony to really cement Lu Xun's authority. They built an altar, gathered all the officials.
Made it official, public.
Very public. Lu Xun was formally invested as Grand Commander. He's given the white yak-tail banners, the yellow battle axes, seals, military tallies, all the symbols of command.
And what was his official area of responsibility?
Sun Quan appointed him to command all forces in the Jing and Chu regions, strategically vital areas, plus 6 commanderies, 81 prefectures. Unprecedented authority for someone seen as just a scholar.
And Sun Quan had a final word on this.
He did. A very powerful declaration. Within the women's quarters, I am the master. Outside, the general commands.
Total delegation of military authority.
Absolutely. It's really a masterclass in leadership from Sun Quan here. Identifying talent, empowering it even against internal resistance, and then using both personal trust, the sword, and formal ceremony to legitimize that authority and try to hit off factionalism.
It makes you think about introducing new leadership in any organization, right? Especially when they break the mold. It's always a challenge getting buy-in from the established players.
Definitely. The old guard often resists. Sun Quan tackled that head-on.
Okay, so Lu Xun has the authority. He has the symbols. What's his first move?
He immediately deploys. He sets out with his escorts, Xu Sheng and Ding Feng, and starts mobilizing forces, both land and water. He doesn't waste time.
And how did the veteran generals react when the news actually reached them in the field? People like Han Dang and Zhu Tai.
They were, the text says, greatly surprised. They apparently exclaimed, how could the Lord make a mere scholar the commander of all troops? This total disbelief and skepticism.
You can feel the resentment already building.
Palpable. So when Lu Xun arrives at the main war tent, his first task is internal. He firmly asserts his authority, reminds everyone about military law, the consequences of disobedience.
Laying down the law from the start.
Exactly. He says, violators will face the king's law without regard for kinship. Basically, your status won't protect you if you disobey the generals. They just sat there in silent resentment.
So his first battle, in a way, was with his own officers.
Pretty much. He had to win their obedience, if not their respect, right away.
And did they test him immediately?
Oh, yes. Su Sai steps up almost instantly. He challenges Lu Xun directly, asking for a plan to rescue Sun Huan, that's Sun Quan's nephew, who's besieged in Yiling and running out of supplies.
A direct test. Show us what you've got, scholar.
Exactly. It's a practical problem needing an immediate solution. How does the new commander respond?
And what was Lu Xun's response?
It was completely counterintuitive, totally defying their expectations of aggressive action. He calmly replies that Sun Huan is a capable leader, that he'll hold his ground just fine. There's no need for a rescue now.
No need. His garrison is running out of supplies.
Lu Xun's view was strategic. He basically said Sun Huan would emerge victorious after Shu was defeated. Focus on the main enemy first.
That must have sounded like madness to the veterans.
It did. The text says the generals secretly laughed. They thought, okay, with a commander like this, Dongwu is finished. Han Dang and Zhu Tai were privately voicing serious doubts.
It really highlights that clash, doesn't it? Immediate reactive thinking versus a longer-term, maybe more patient strategic vision.
Absolutely. Lu Xun wasn't playing their game.
So, undeterred by this internal grumbling and skepticism, what was Lu Xun's overall strategy? What were his core orders?
His core order was simple and defensive. All generals were to guard their checkpoints, firmly hold the strongholds, and not engage the enemy lightly.
Hold the line. Don't attack. Wait.
Exactly. A patient defensive strategy, completely at odds with the aggressive nature of these veteran Wu generals.
And how did they take that order?
Predictably not well. Many openly mocked what they saw as cowardice. Some didn't strictly follow the orders.
So Lu Xun had an enforcement problem.
He did initially, but he wasn't going to let it slide. He confronted them again. This time, he drew his sword, Sun Quan's sword.
Bringing out the symbol of ultimate authority again.
Right. He reiterated his mandate from Sun Quan. He even explained why he thought he was chosen for his ability to endure humiliation and bear heavy burdens. He wasn't afraid to look weak if it served the larger strategy.
That takes a certain kind of confidence, actually.
It does. And then he threatened execution, again, for disobedience. The generals backed down, but they withdrew, simmering with anger.
Okay, so that's the situation in the Wu camp. Meanwhile, what's happening with Liu Bei? He's got this massive army out.
Massive. 40 camps stretching 700, that's over 250 miles from Shaoding to Chuanku. A huge deployment. He hears about Lu Xun's appointment and his defensive posture.
What does he make of Lu Xun? Does he get any advice?
He asks about him, and his advisor Ma Liang gives him a warning. Ma Liang points out that yes, Lu Xun is young, but he's talented and cunning. He reminds Liu Bei that Lu Xun was instrumental in the capture of Jingzhou.
The very event that fueled Liu Bei's vengeance in the first place.
Exactly. But Liu Bei is just blinded by grief and, frankly, overconfidence by this point.
He dismisses the warning.
Completely. Calls Lu Xun a mere youth. He's furious about his brother's death and vows to capture this upstart. He boasts, "I am experienced in warfare. How could I be inferior to a yellow-mouthed child?"
Famous last words, perhaps?
Well, it certainly shows his mindset. He then personally leads his vanguard to attack various passes, trying desperately to provoke Lu Xun into a decisive battle.
Trying to force Lu Xun's hand.
Right. And when Han Dang reports Liu Bei's aggressive moves, Lu Xun actually rides out to observe the Shu forces himself. He sees the sheer scale of Liu Bei's army.
And Han Dang wants to attack immediately.
Of course. Han Dang urges an immediate attack.
Yeah.
But Lu Xun forbids it. Again.
Still sticking to the plan. What was his reasoning this time?
He explained that Shu's morale was sky high after all their initial victories. Attacking them head-on now would be foolish. Wu must hold the high ground, guard the strongholds, and not sally forth.
Patience. He had something else in mind.
He did. He specifically predicted that Liu Bei, frustrated by being unable to provoke a battle, would eventually have to move his camps. He anticipated Liu Bei would move them into forests and mountains.
Why would that be significant?
Because that would be the moment Lu Xun was waiting for. He said at that point he would defeat them with a strange stratagem. He was playing the long game, waiting for Liu Bei to make a critical error.
It's this fascinating clash, conventional warfare, meet force with force, versus strategic patience, waiting for the opponent to overextend or make a mistake.
Precisely. Waiting can be a powerful weapon.
Which brings us, I suppose, to Liu Bei's next big move. Does he fall into the trap?
He walks right into it. This leads us to Liu Bei's colossal strategic blunder. As spring turns into summer, the weather changes.
It gets hot.
oppressively hot. General Feng Shi reports that the Shu army, camped out in the open plains, is suffering terribly from the heat. And crucially, they lack easy access to water. Morale starts to dip because of the conditions.
So a logistical problem forces his hand.
Exactly. This was the opening Lu Sun had been anticipating, though perhaps not exactly how he imagined. Liu Bei, ignoring past warnings about Lu Sun's cunning, orders all 40 camps to move.
Where does he move them?
From the exposed open positions into dense forests near streams and rivers, trying to escape the summer heat. His plan is to rest the troops and then resume the offensive in the autumn.
And Ma Liang speaks up again.
He does. Ma Liang immediately voices his concern. If our army moves like this into the forest, what if the Wu forces suddenly attack us while we're relocating or settling in?
A very valid concern.
You'd think so.
Yeah.
But Liu Bei is just brimming with overconfidence now. He dismisses the worry entirely. He actually details this elaborate counter-ambush plan he's cooked up.
Oh,
Yeah.
What was his brilliant plan?
He plans to use Wu Ban with 10,000 supposedly weak soldiers as bait out in the open near the old camp locations. Meanwhile, Liu Bei himself will hide with 8,000 elite troops in nearby valleys.
Okay, a classic bait and ambush.
That's the idea. If Lu Sun attacks Wu Ban will pretend to be defeated and retreat, luring Lu Sun to the valleys where Liu Bei's hidden troops will ambush them and cut off their retreat.
And how did his officers react to this plan?
Oh, they loved it. Eager to please their commander, they praised it as divine strategy.
But is it really divine strategy if it depends entirely on your opponent doing exactly what you expect, and you're ignoring warnings from your own advisor?
That's the critical question, isn't it? It suggests a dangerous level of confirmation bias. He's seeing what he wants to see.
Did Ma Liang try one last time?
He did. Ma Liang makes a final plea. He urges Liu Bei to at least consult Zhuge Liang, who is off inspecting passes against Wei. He even quotes that ancient wisdom: listen to all sides and be enlightened. Listen to one side and be misled.
Solid advice. Did Liu Bei listen?
Not really. Still utterly confident in his own military genius, he reluctantly agrees to let Ma Liang draw maps of the new camp locations, the ones in the forests, and take them to Zhuge Liang. But he demands a swift report back. Ma Liang leaves, clearly filled with dread.
So the army moves into the forests.
They do. As Liu Bei's massive army relocates into these shady, wooded areas near streams, Wu spies immediately spot the movement.
And they report it.
Instantly, they reported straight to Han Dang and Zhu Tai.
And what's the reaction?
They are greatly delighted. This is exactly the kind of vulnerability they've been looking for. They rush to inform Lu Sun, urging him, finally, to attack the now seemingly vulnerable Shu army.
This is it, the aha moment you mentioned.
This is absolutely it. Liu Bei, driven by that potent cocktail of revenge and overconfidence, makes the exact move Lu Sun predicted and was patiently, strategically waiting for.
Moving into the forest.
Moving into the interconnected, flammable, difficult-to-maneuver forests. It just perfectly highlights the critical difference between a leader who listens, who adapts, and one who tragically believes they know it all.